How well do you know Lightroom? Do you know all of its useful features? Or are you here looking for a way to become more efficient in finding everything and your way around that program? Well, in this video, I'm going to be covering a comprehensive guide to Lightroom, not the classic version, and mobile, and we'll be covering everything from organization to exporting photos. If you're new here, hi, my name is Demetrios, and I create videos on drones, photography, and everything in between. If you want to join a community of like-minded people, subscribe to stay up to date. That being said, let's jump into Lightroom. Now, first up, I am subscribed to Lightroom. I am paying a monthly subscription. I know subscriptions, everyone is tired with them. However, I actually think this is worth it. For the $9.99 USD or 11.99 euros that I pay a month, I also get 1 terabyte of cloud storage, and this is amazing. So that way, all my photos are backed up. And the beauty of this is that it's all synced as well. So whatever I do on my desktop is also on my mobile and on my iPad, and whatever I edit on there is on my desktop. So I definitely think it's worth it. That being said, all my photos are still stored locally on my Mac. However, because this takes up a lot of space, as you can see currently in the top right when I click on cloud, I have almost 700 gigabytes of photos. And that's a lot, and it's going to eat up pretty much my 1 terabyte internal SSD on my Mac. So I keep everything on an SSD. And then again, if I have more photos that I need to archive, I will keep this on an external hard drive that now and then, if I need to access the photos because they're quite old, I can just plug it in. I will link the SSD and hard drives that I use in the description box down below. Now let's take a quick overview of Lightroom here. As you can see on the left-hand side here, we can toggle the albums menu, and then we can even have tabs for cloud and local storage. And on the right-hand side is if you click into a photo, for instance, and if we click on a photo, on the right-hand side, we have all our editing tools, crop tools, eraser, creating new masking, versions, and even extra settings here as well. And our presets are at the top. We have a search bar as well and filters, and I'll be covering that in a moment. And at the bottom, we have different views for our albums, how we want to view them. First up, let's talk about organizing your photos. So if we see here on the right-hand side, I have everything organized by year. And then within that, the different categories of whether it's my drone or my camera or my part of my portfolio. And then within that, I have all the different albums. To create a folder, simply click on the plus sign, create folder, and then you just give it a name. I can also right click and then I can add an album, and then I'm just gonna call this YouTube. If I want to add photos, I'm gonna add these photos that I took earlier. When you create an album, you can just click on the add photos, find your SD card, and then just import them. Or what I prefer to do is I go to my Finder view, find my SD card, and then drag and drop these in. And then I just click add, and it's really straightforward. Now, when you do have an album, there's several ways to view this album. So at the moment, we have it in this square grid style. However, at the bottom here, if we click on this film strip, we can view them like this, which is really nice. And then we have a side-by-side view, so you can compare two photos, or you want to compare before and after, or just a singular photo where you can do your editing. Underneath, you will also have sorting, whether you want to sort by capture, import date, file name, star rating, etc. Whether you want to star your photos or flag them, and whether you want to zoom in or fit the photo, hide the film strip, and whether you want to show the before and after. To sort through photos more efficiently, if we look at the search bar at the top, just to the right of that, we have this filter icon. Here we can filter by several ways, either by selecting everything that we have flagged, and then we can see how many photos have been marked as flagged out of the total album. You can do the same for unflagged and rejected, and the same for stars. We can search everything that has been starred by 3 or 4 or more. And just to the left of this here, we can do equal than, less than, or more than. And then we can find anything that's 3 stars or greater. We can also filter whether they're edited, the type of photos, whether they're JPEG or RAW, camera, location, sync status, etc. Now let's move on to sharing photos with your community and with friends or clients. Find the photo that you want to share with the community, click the share button, and if we scroll here right to the bottom, it says share to community, and this will be shared to community page. You can just fill in all your details, and if I go to the community tab here, this is everything that I have done and have shared with the community. And the great thing is, when you share to the community, people can re-edit or remix your photos to a different edit. Now, if I want to share an album with friends or clients, All you have to do is find the album you want to share, right click on it, share and invite. And here you'll be able to select all the different options, such as if anyone can view it or you do invite only, you can copy the link and share that with your friends, invite them by email addresses, and you can select whether they want to view only, contribute, or you can do custom edit and contribute. We can even customize this to show the title and the author, the type of grid and the appearance, as well as whether we want to allow for JPEG downloads, metadata, etc. And to stop sharing, just click on the stop sharing icon. If you want to see all the albums that you have shared, if you scroll up to the top here and click on shared albums, here is everything that you have shared and you can manage everything that way. When you are sharing albums to friends or clients, they do not need to pay for Lightroom. This is completely free, it's just done through your account. This also makes it really handy, by the way, if instead of exporting photos and uploading it to Google Drive, and then maybe the client wants to change it or they don't like certain things, all suddenly you now have to go back, re-edit and re-export. Whereas if you're sharing it with Lightroom, you can make edits within Lightroom and then just let them know that you've made the changes and they can view the album. So it makes everything a lot quicker and saves a lot of time, especially in the workflow process. Let's move on to searching, because this one's really cool. This is something that I used recently for one of my videos to this Sony 7350. I wanted to find all my photos that I had shot with that lens. If I go to the search bar at the top here and then click on lens and then have all these options, and then I can type in 70, find the lens to 70-50, click on that, and now it's going to find every photo that I shot with this lens. So it made it a lot easier for me to find the photos to be able to share with you guys. And this isn't restricted to just lenses. We can click on the search bar, we can search by camera, focal length, shutter speed, f-stop, by album, edited, etc. So really useful feature if you're trying to find something really quickly. Now let's move on to presets on how to create them and import them. First up, if we click on a photo that we want to edit, what I'm going to do is go to the presets icon, and then on the three dots here, we can create preset. And if I click on that, I'm just going to call this new 2025. Here we can create a new folder as well. So let's say we're going to create this as 2026. I'm going to create, so now we have created a new group, and then I'm going to call this new preset just for clarity. And these are all the settings that I want saved for this preset. You're going to click save, and now we can see here at the top we have here 2026 new preset. So if we click on the other photo and click new preset, it's automatically loaded it. Now that wasn't a really nice edit, so what I'm going to use is one of my presets just to show you the difference. So I'm just going to click on one of these ones here and just scroll down. Oh, C3PO was nice and easy, that one. I'm going to click on this one. It's a nice little edit there, and that's done. If you're interested in any of my presets, I'll put a link in the description box down below. And once you've done that, you're going to want to know how to import. All you need to do is go to presets, click on the three dots, go to import presets, and then once you've downloaded them, you can see it will have these two folders. You'll have the PDF and then the folder containing the XMP files. You do not need to do this one by one. Just click on the folder, click import, and straight away you have your presets already. And obviously these are specific to cars, but they're not looking too bad for this either. Next up, editing. Now on the right hand side is all your editing tools when you're editing your photos, obviously. But I'm not going to be covering this, nor is this an editing tutorial, but I do want to highlight some specific features. First up is HDR editing. So if you have a Mac, for instance, or your iPhone, we have the ability to use high dynamic range photos. So we've got a little bit more room within the edit. This doesn't really show up on the screen recording, but if I tap in HDR, watch the histogram here. You now have way more room to work with. So if I move the exposure, well, this probably already exposed, but if I click on auto for now, maybe you want to adjust the whites, you can see that we have a lot more room to play with here, and the image looks a lot better. Maybe not on the screen recording, but if I untick HDR, you can see the difference in the sky where it's completely vanished, and even the histogram, everything to the right hand side. So you click on HDR, you'll be able to get a lot more to work with in the highlights specifically. The next one is point color adjustments. If we scroll down and maybe want to do some fancy editing or specific editing to colors, here we have point color selection. So let's say I want to specifically edit a color. I'm going to highlight this blue here. Now I have complete control on changing that color, whether I want to change the hue, do I want to have more saturation or less saturation, and do I want to do a luminance shift? And you can see it's affecting other parts that are specific to that color. Another useful here is Lightroom's denoise. So let's say you are shooting at a higher ISOs and your photos are a little bit noisy. That can happen. In this example here, I was shooting with the 7350, not the best in low light, and I have some noise. So if we go to the edit tab and then we scroll all the way down, you'll see a noise reduction. You just hit that, Lightroom will do its thing. This box will come up and then just click enhance. And then when the photo is done, literally it's done its magic and it's got rid of all the noise. Really handy feature. Another cool feature here is lens blur. If we scroll all the way down, we have a feature here called lens blur. So maybe you want to add extra bokeh or you want to make cities look miniature. This is what that button does. And if I click on the hide here, you can see the difference before and after. So it's kind of blurred the foreground here. We can make adjustments with how much blur we want, or we can change the focus range. Here's another example as well of where we have the blades on the turbine in focus and the background's blurred. If I hide it, we can see the city. So that's the difference, what that makes. Version history is a good one as well. This is why I like having that cloud solution. Let's say we're editing, maybe we had two different styles of edit and we can't decide which one we want. If we click on this clock on the right hand side, we have versions. Here you can see the actual history of the photo. So from the original, and then obviously through the edits, all the edits that we made that were different, going from horizontal to vertical. This is a great feature to have. So if nothing will ever be lost. And you can do this manually as well. So you can create different versions and save them. So maybe you want to save this for a later date to create a preset. Maybe you really like this photo. You can create a specific version and then create a preset from this. If I load a preset here from my drone camera, and let's say I want to copy this preset across the whole album, all I have to do is Command C after I've applied the preset, select the other photos, Command V, and it's just applied the preset. Really great. And if you want to reset them, if you do Command A to select everything, Command R, this will reset your settings back to original. Now we're going to go to some pro or power features here in Lightroom. And the first one here is super resolution. So let's say you want to create canvas prints, and obviously you might not have the pixels or the megapixels from your camera. So what do? We can use super resolution, which will double the amount of pixels. To find the photo that you want to upload and increase in size, if we click on the eye icon here at the bottom, we can see the pixel resolution that we have right now. This is obviously cropped as well. However, we want to double this because we want to be able to create larger prints. If you want larger prints, you need more pixels. So right click and then go to enhance. Here you want to make sure super resolution is ticked. Click enhance. We wait for Lightroom to do its magic. Now Lightroom will create a stacked image where you see the number 2 here. So if I click on that, you'll see the original here, which was 6,000 pixels by 3.4. And now the super resolution images is now 12,000 by almost 7,000. So we've doubled the amount of pixels. Next up is panorama merge. So once you imported your panoramas, I suggest doing this one by one so you don't get confused. Import these, add them to Lightroom. All you want to do is select the photos, right click, and then do photo merge, panorama merge, and it will bring up another window. Most of the time I just click spherical. This is the one I use. Cylindrical is fine. I haven't had the best results, and perspective doesn't really work for me sometimes. I keep everything as stock. The only thing I change here is put auto crop, and that's it. Fill edges I don't bother with because it kind of like creates weird stuff. So just click merge, Lightroom do its thing, and that is created a panorama. And if you can see the number 9, because that's how many photos are in that stack. So if you want to save space and not keep those panoramic images and just the one generated, I would just select everything, deselect the panel generated, and then do Option Delete to delete everything. The other one here is HDR photos or stacked photos. So if you are taking multiple photos, so regular exposure, underexposed, overexposed, and we want to stack these together to create a properly exposed image or a HDR image, as we have done here, all we have to do is find the images that we want to merge, select those, right click, and then we want to go to photo merge, HDR merge. You click on that, it will bring up a box telling you to auto align, apply auto settings, apply HDR, click merge, and then it will give you the HDR image. And that's how easy that is. Now let's talk about export settings. So if we want to export a photo, find the photo or photos you want to export, click on the share button here. And then here you have several options such as custom, JPEG small, JPEG large. Most of the time for social media, I just click JPEG small, or if I want to add a watermark, I click on custom settings. And here it will give me all the settings that I want to use. So the image type, dimensions, quality, and whether I want to include your watermark or not. And if you click on the cog, here we can change the different position, the size, opacity, the offset, and whether it's going to be text or an image that you can import. Now let's cover some Lightroom shortcuts. And what I will do is I'll create a community post and, well, share it there for quick use. So check out my community post if you want access to these shortcuts, but let's run through these really quickly. So if I want to crop an image without having to go to crop in the edit settings, if I hit C, this will go to the crop. And if I want to rotate the crop, if I click X, this will go between vertical and horizontal, and you can press escape to go back. If I'm sorting through photos quickly and I want to flag them as good or bad, you click X to reject, you can click Z to accept, and then to unflag it, just press U. If you want to give it a star rating as you're going through photos, basically click 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5, and this will give it the star rating. If you want to unstar it, just press 0. If you want to use the HDR merge or panoramic merge as a shortcut, you can do Control H or Control M. If you want to hide the film strip, you got /, and this will just hide the film strip. If you want to show the before and after, click /, and this will show you the before and after your edits. If you want to go full screen, press F. And if you want to switch between a grid or the film strip, just press G, and this will switch between those views as well. Now let's move on to mobile. So when you open up the Lightroom Mobile, you have at the bottom here your device photos. So everything that's on your actual device, your Lightroom photos, and then your community tab, which I mentioned earlier. Here's where you can see all the community from Lightroom. But most of the time I'm in just the middle tab, which is Lightroom itself. At the top here, you can see you have your cloud icon to show whether everything's been synced or backed up. You have your sort filter here where you can sort by finding photos that they're starred or flagged or unflagged, the type, etc. You can do sorting by capture date by clicking on the top right, and whether you want to share by clicking on the person icon. On the left here we can see we got the similar structure where we got on the desktop version to see all our photos and our albums. So if you go back to 2025, we can see all the photos that I've taken recently for the ND filters that I've done video, and the 70-50 folder, and everything to do with the YouTube thumbnails that I have taken. So it's really straightforward to navigate by just quickly clicking the back button and just going through. So it's really straightforward here. Now I want to import photos. Here you will see if you want to import from your camera roll of your phone, you just click on this, and then you can select if you've attached an SD card through an accessory, you can do, or you can just click on device, and this will give you all the photos that you can import. So I can just click import, and this will import the photo into Lightroom. Now when you are on the album view, a quick way to view closer, just like you do on Photos app, if you scroll out, you can zoom into these, and if you pinch, you will zoom out. Now let's say we wanted to take a look at details in this album view. If we use 2 fingers or 2 thumbs, depending how you hold your phone, if we tap once, we can cycle through the different information that the album will show. Most of the time I will just be in flags and ratings, and that way it's easier to see which photos that I want to share on social media. If I want to select various photos to share, I'm just going to hold down, and this will bring up the select option, select the photos that I want to share. And you can see at the bottom here, we have the share icon. If I click on this, I can tap save to device, or if I want to customize this, click on the cog icon, and here I'll be able to select the file type, the dimensions, the quality, content creator essentials, and whether I want to include my watermark or not. And I can customize this too, same as I could do on the desktop version. Now if we click enter our photos, here you'll have all your editing tools automatically seen. If you just want to scroll through and see the photos, tap on the screen once, and this will give you an option just to swipe without any of the editing tools, which is really handy. When you are in this mode and you're browsing which photos you want to keep or star, if we use the right hand side of the screen and scroll up or hover down, you can see we can select or deselect the flag rating. And if we use the left hand side of the screen, we can use a star rating by just tapping and then swiping up or down to star a photo. If you want to come back out, we can literally just click on once and then we've come back to the editing page. On the top left here, you can see you've got your photo info, and you can keep on tapping this to cycle through information such as the star rating. Or if we click on the three dots, we can do view options. We can actually show the histogram instead. And again, three dots, view options, file info, and this will switch between the two. So the three dots are really straightforward here. Now this isn't an editing tutorial, but all your editing tools here are at the bottom, including masking as well as lens blur. If you want to see the version history on the photo, if we click on this clock icon here, we got versions. And here you can see the timeline of all the photo edits that we have done to this photo, including name ones if we want to name them. We can do create version, and we can just do here YouTube and create. So now it's created a new version. So if we ever want to save that edit, we can do it as a version or just go through the history here, which is really handy. And you can see it's uploading to the cloud already, and that will be synced straight away to whatever other app, whatever other area you're using Lightroom, whether it's desktop or iPad. Now, if you wanted to copy and edit, if we click on the three dots here, we can do copy settings, and this will give you the different settings that you want to copy to the other photos. Click yes. And if I go back out and we'll go to this one here and we go into the folder, we can literally click on the three dots and then do paste settings, and this will paste the settings across. If you want to do multiple photos at once, again, hold down, select the different photos. And as you can see here at the bottom, it says paste, and this will literally do the same thing as you would on desktop, but it's applying the edit to multiple photos. Really, really handy. So Lightroom is a very powerful feature, even on mobile too. And you pretty much have everything other than super resolution, HDR, and pano merge, which are quite powerful features there. But pretty much everything else, including lens blur, is on mobile too. If you have any questions, let me know in the comment section down below. And if you enjoyed this video, remember to give it a thumbs up. Let me know what's your favorite feature, or if there's anything missed in this video. And if you want to level up your editing, but for video, then why not check out my color grading with D-Log M here. And if you want to check out the lens that I use most of the time, then click this video here. I'll see you in the next one.
Oh man, oh.